Last year, so 2022, I sort of wanted to get Blogstatic or my SaaS making a better shot, and I decided to take a loan. Basically, I stopped all the work again, no contract work, nothing. I was like, I'm gonna start doing this full time.
Hello and welcome back to Indie Bites, the podcast where I bring you stories of fellow indie hackers in 15 minutes or less. I'm your host, James McKinven. Today I'm joined by Val Sopi, the founder of Blogstatic, a lightweight blogging platform built to take on the likes of Ghost. Currently, Val is sitting around 1k a month, but with a low-priced annual plans approach, he's relying on new sign-ups and plan upgrades instead of recurring subscriptions. So he's at a crossroads of needing to pour fuel on the fire to grow his low-cost blogging platform or attempt to build a B2B SaaS, which he believes is a much more sustainable option for an indie founder. Val has been hardened by business successes and failures throughout the years, so I love his pragmatic approach to the decisions he's making. We do have a longer 55-minute chat which is available on the Indie Bites membership, which you can get access for $60 a year at indiebites.com/membership. But before we get into this chat, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Email Octopus, who did actually make the low-cost volume play work to bootstrap to millions. I interviewed the founders on episode 99. Email Octopus are an email platform focused on affordability and ease of use without the bloated features that some email apps have. So you can focus on shipping and growing your audience, which regular listeners know is essential for growth in the early days. Just to get started with an email platform that gets out the way, you can contact up to 2,500 people for free. Head to emailoctopus.com or hit the link in the show notes. Let's get into this episode with Val. Val, how are you doing? Welcome to the pod.
Hey, good man. Good to see you. Happy to be here.
Let's talk about some of the projects that you've done on the side over the years. Have you got anything notable before we get on to Claritask and Blogstatic, which is where we're going to talk about stuff?
Yeah, so my first time I got into SaaS was in 2013. It was a product similar to Claritask. It was a project management tool. It was a little bigger. It was targeted for advertising agencies. I come from an advertising agency background. I work in advertising agencies since college. So I sort of knew their pains. The name of the product was Good WERP, and the meaning behind the name was Good Web ERP. That's sort of like the acronym for that. That was 2013 up to 2016. I spent a lot of money, had a team, and the product wasn't doing bad. Could have done more in terms of marketing, advertising, reaching out to more advertising agencies because the clients we had were very happy. The problem with it was that the team was pretty big for a product like that. And I was spending a lot of money maintaining payroll, not leaving anyone behind. I could have done a ton of things different back then, but then that one led to me losing a lot of money, going back to freelancing, making some money, teaching myself how to code, making Claritask, and then selling Claritask for about 2 years worth of runway for my family of 4. I'm
curious, that project management tool you have for agencies, were you doing that full time then with the team? And was it doing enough in terms of revenue? And what happened that it sort of didn't work out?
Yeah, so I had a web design shop. So we did, websites, web apps for clients. And I was doing okay. So I had a bunch of money in my banking account. And I was really tired of clients. They weren't so bad. I was just tired of getting another job, keeping the pipeline healthy, just churning work after work. And with the money I had, I've been wanting to do a SaaS for the longest time. And I thought that was, the time that I needed to make the jump. So announced it to every client that we're not doing this anymore. We're not working for clients because we're focusing on our own product. So left the clients, focused 100% on that, had money for my runway, for the payroll and whatnot. And then we didn't meet the goals that I was planning to. So that's when the money started to run out. The most Good WERP made, it got to $1,000 MRR. Okay. So
tell me more about how Claritask came about. Was that off of the previous product? Was it sort of born out of that, where you were just doing it on your own?
That was actually me teaching myself how to back-end code.
Okay.
And it was really dumb to go again into project management because it's such a tough market. There's some big players with a lot of money. And, when it almost felt like a rite of passage to SaaS. You have to do one of those. So I did it again. It was basically me teaching myself how to code. And I thought there was some pains that I learned from Good WERP that I could solve better. And so I launched it. I think it was 2019 when I launched it. It never really took off, to be honest. The most it did, I think it got to like $300 MRR.
Oh, wow.
So it was really low.
Yeah.
And then circa 2021, yeah, I got really tired of it and I just wanted to package it, reformat code, and then just wait if somebody wants to buy it. And then weirdly, luckily, one of the clients that was using it, they're like, hey, we're building this big tool with a bunch of these tools, like a suite of things. Like, do you want to sell it? But the contingency is that you come with it. And I was like, no, I'm not interested in coming with you and working with you, just simply because I'm unemployable at this point. But if you guys want to take it, you can take it. And then they said, well, we're not really sure about that. So anyway, 3 weeks later, they're like, all right, we want it without you because we need it in our tool. So you want to sell it? I said, yes. And that was the end of Claritask. So it was very cool because it wasn't doing that well and I sold it really good. So got really lucky there.
All right, so you landed a little bit of luck to sell Claritask, but you did, and that gave you a couple of years runway, right? How did Blogstatic come? Where does it fit into your story?
So I got super lucky, like you said, with Claritask. It was at the right time, right moment. And then Blogstatic was something that I challenged myself with. I wanted to build a SaaS for 20 to 30 hours of work. I had sold Claritask. I was super confident in my skills as a programmer. And I built it, I launched it. It got some clients right away, and I didn't make much of it. The year I sold Claritask, I took most of the summer off.
Okay.
I was hanging out with my kids. We did some traveling. I didn't work much. And then I was just coasting. I had some clients, some contract work, etc. And then last year, so 2022, I sort of wanted to give Blogstatic or my SaaS making a better shot, be more structured in my approach, not just sort of like coast along, whatever comes my way. And I decided to take a loan to pay myself. So I took a loan. I started paying the loan with the loan. Basically, I stopped all the work again, no contract work, nothing. I was like, I'm gonna start doing this full time. So this was September 2022. And then a month later, Ashraf, who's in Mega Maker, he approached me. He's like, I have some money. I want to invest. I like what you're doing, let's talk. So we agreed on 30K. We did it as a debt and some percentage. And that helped me be more safe into pursuing this dream and pursuing this journey. And without Ashraf, I could have never done it. So got lucky there again. And Blogstatic is doing good, but not as good as I needed to. It's hovering around 1K per month. To make it a 5 to 10K business per month, it's going to take a lot of marketing, a lot of effort, which I'm not sure I'm very keen into doing it. I might have the skills and time to do it, but I'd rather focus on a product that maybe can bring a little bit more cash for less of an effort. And that's where the B2B approach comes in. So that's sort of Blogstatic. I'm still on it. I'm not giving up on it. There's no point of giving up because the product is profitable around 80-90%. It's selling itself. I'm not doing much marketing. It's bringing pretty much free cash flow. Like, it would be crazy to shut it down. So with that said, I'm using part of my time to build a B2B SaaS.
So much to unpack there in the story. Where should I go? Because I've got lots of thoughts on this, not only on Blogstatic and your pricing, because what you said about building something more higher leverage makes complete sense. But selfishly, I really like Blogstatic, so I want it to exist. And when I see a really good product that is taking on an incumbent, again, in like a really competitive market, I'm like, it'll be a shame for an indie product to die that is tackling it so well. Because like, you see indies taking on a competitive market and not doing a very good job, and you're like, yeah, but the reason it's not working is your product is really shit compared to theirs, and it's hard to tell people that's their baby. But Blogstatic, compared to Ghost, it is really good. And for me, who's someone who used Ghost, who loved Ghost, it was kind of a hard thing for me to move off it. But when I started using Blogstatic, dude, I was like, this is perfect. And your low cost approach, which I don't necessarily agree with, is perfect for this. Because that's why I love using Card as well. Because it is a no-brainer. It is like, absolutely, I'll pay for this. If I'm paying Ghost however much for their product, and it's decent, but I can get almost the same experience from an indie, much cheaper for me, where my blog is just for fun, right? Okay, let's talk about that, like the low cost approach. Why you're going for that? Is it for this no-brainer, and is this a double-edged sword because it's made it so much more difficult for you to grow because you need more customers?
True, both cases true. So first thing was making a no-brainer product. People not thinking about twice about if they should buy it or not. That was one thing. The downside of it is that it's hard to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say grow, I mean 5K, 10K per month, because the product is growing anyway. It has a 15 to 20% growth every month. I have investors who are interested to invest in it. I had people interested to buy it straight out. So the product is good. Now, since it's not providing me the money that I need, it doesn't mean that the product is not doing well, because for itself it's doing really great. It's not going anywhere. So to get back to your question, I wanted to make a no-brainer product. Also blogging, I didn't see it as a product where people pay monthly, $40, $50, $90 per month, unless you're like super differentiated.
Yeah.
And you're serving a niche of someone who needs blogging for, farms, whatnot. I don't know what kind of niche would it be to pay that much, that big of an amount. And then I wanted to make it super simple for myself when people churn, because the cost is so low. If somebody churns, it doesn't hurt as much, And also, to be honest, it's what people are paying for it. I could try making it a $15, $20 product a month. I don't think people will pay for it. So I think it's being very open to listening to what people are willing to pay for it, which a lot of times people, I think, try to sell a product with the price that they want to make off of a product. And I think that's a wrong approach, because the market with a credit card always has the last word. Like, they're going to decide what they want to pay for the product.
I think you're right. And you can tell you've put a lot of thought into this and the reasons your price is the way they are. I think that completely makes sense. It's really sad that in order for it to grow to the point you need, it's going to take a huge amount of marketing effort to get the volume, getting a marketing machine working. And that might just take more money, and it's why there are so many VC-backed companies in the space, or why there's so many other bigger competitors. And I guess that's just not an option for you at this point, which is why you're exploring the B2B option.
Yeah, I mean, I have a VC who's been interested, and they're a pretty decent company. One thing I don't like about VCs in particular is that I know I will find myself in a spot where I will have to make a decision that is aligned with their goals. Yeah. And it's mostly financial goals. And that would cause me a lot of pain in terms of doing something that might be wrong by my users. That's one thing I wouldn't want to do. Having VC money would be incredible. I would have a huge runway, would have a team of people that could, deliver a bigger, better product with more features and compete with Substack and Ghost even on a higher stage. I'm not saying entirely no to it, but that's the only thing that turns me off, being afraid that I'll find myself in a position where I will have to compromise the whole idea behind why Blogstatic exists,
100%. And also, like, it's a certain person or a certain founder that VC is more suited for. And I know for me, I don't know if you're similar, I need to be able to fully make my own decisions and also take time away when I need to. And I think VC takes a lot more commitment, and the indie route takes less of that. So I came onto the school actually to try and convince you out of losing focus, but actually it makes sense because you've got it to a decent point, but you need a lot of volume, and to get that volume, it is going to take a lot more time or money, which frankly you don't have, which is why B2B makes more sense for indie founders in reality, because it's hard to get that volume of people.
Yeah. Another reason behind trying another product instead of going head on into doing the numbers that I need for Blogstatic is that I know from good work, when I started doing things just for the growth's sake and didn't let the product simmer within the industry, I started making a lot of mistakes with the product, with the customers, with the positioning. I don't want to do that to Blogstatic. I know that if I focus and give my 100% to growing at any cost to the point where I need it to grow, I know I'm afraid I'll ruin it. And I want to give it this time to sort of grow on its own while I keep delivering some things that people actually need within Blogstatic, and hopefully have some time to do some marketing efforts. And hopefully maybe this other product will give me the means to pour more money into Blogstatic, maybe hire somebody to do the features that I should be doing that maybe I don't have the time, or maybe hire a marketing person who can do a lot of the work that I should be doing.
Yeah.
So the reason behind, like the bottom line is that I like where Blogstatic is growing. I wanted to continue growing it. I wanted to sort of simmer within the industry, find its feet. The growth is perfect. I will continue pursuing this other thing that it might not go anywhere come January, February. But if it does, it could be just another income stream for myself, so.
Well, Val, I hope it works out, and I hope that it can bring you a little bit more of that indie freedom and success that you're hoping for. I do end every episode on 3 recommendations: a book, a podcast, and an indie hacker. What have you got for me?
I don't listen to many indie hacker podcasts. I think the one that I listen to, it's not by indie hacker. It's Startups for the Rest of Us with Rob Walling. A book recommendation. I don't know if you since you like tennis, I don't know if you ever read The Inner Game of Tennis.
No.
That's an incredible book. It's not only about tennis, which is the most amazing thing about it.
Indie hacker, entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh, I have so many, man. This is not fair. All right, so I chatted with Joe today. Joe Asheville, I think is his last name, is it? So he has a new product. He just quit his product that wasn't going anywhere, which I respect a lot. I respect people that quit. I should have quit some things way much earlier before those things quit me.
Cool, Val. Well, Val, thank you so much for coming on this episode of Indie Bites.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. This was incredible. Great to chat with you again.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Indie Bites with Val Sopi of Blogstatic. If you enjoyed Val's approach, you can get the full conversation on the Indie Bites membership by hitting the link in the show notes. And a thank you again to my sponsor, Email Octopus, for making the show happen. That's all from me. See you next week.